Hello and welcome. I'm Peter, and we're here to make progress, not perfection. But on that way to progress, we need to learn the basics of one of the most popular characters in the game, Paul Phoenix. And before I continue, thank you all the players in the Tekken Paul Discord for helping me make this guide. You guys were super friendly in answering any of the questions that I had, and huge shout outs as well to Joey Fury. Joey sat down with me for about an hour or so to really answer any of the questions that I had that wasn't already answered by the Paul Tekken Discord. And he also made sure that I had all the moves and the punishes and stuff, and I wasn't really missing anything. And he also made sure that the information I was providing you guys was correct. So thank you, Joey. If you're watching this, couldn't have done it without you, man. Thank you so much. So if you haven't already done so, please join the Paul Discord and also subscribe to Joey on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter and Twitch. I'll leave a link in the video description below so you guys know where to find that. Anyways, we're gonna go over Paul's strengths, weaknesses, punishment tools, and as well as key moves. This is going to be a starter guide for beginners, so it won't cover everything about the character, but enough to help those who are looking to pick up the character. First up is his strengths, and there's quite a few of them. Damage. This guy hits hard when he lands a counter hit, or has rage, or God forbid those two things line up and you're going to the wall. You're going to die, my dude. No health lead is safe against Paul. Safety. Now, despite how lower level players might opt to play Paul as a 50-50 coin flip machine or a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of character, he can actually be played quite safely. Loads of his counter hit launchers are safe on block and lead to big damage on hit. Paul also has lots of pokes that are safe as well that he can kind of just throw out there. Homing. While many characters of the cast struggle with this or just have average homing attacks, Paul does not. He's got some of the best homing attacks in the game. Block punishment, whether it's standing or while standing, he's got it all, and the damage he's got on them, well, it's not bad. Space control. Now, despite wanting to play up close and personal, Paul can do a relatively good job of controlling space, due to the fact that he has one of the best down forward 2s in the game, and a terrifying counter hit game with quarter circle back 4 and quarter circle forward 3. He controls way more space than you would actually think for an infighter. Wall pressure. This is where shit gets real. At the wall is where Paul wants his opponent to be. His pressure there is truly terrifying, as the 50-50 mix-ups that he's got access to can no longer be so easily avoided with just plain old movement. And if all that wasn't enough for you, well, the icing on the cake is that Paul comes equipped with a full throw game. He's got a 1, a 2, and a 1+2 throw. As you could probably tell, Paul has a lot of strengths. And now we're going to talk about some of his weaknesses. When compared to other members of the cast, Paul doesn't really shine when it comes to Oki without walls. Sure, he's got some, but not to the degree that others do. While he gets good standing punishment from 12 frames and onward, Paul suffers from having one of the weaker 10 frame punishes in the game, in the form of just 1-2. In addition, Paul lacks a 13 frame mid attack. Paul's fastest mid attack is his down forward 1, which is 14 frames. This can be somewhat annoying when trying to check a crouching opponent when you are at +3 or +4 frames, as dick jabs here will either interrupt or trade with a down forward 1. And last but not least, in certain matchups, Paul's lows can become a liability in trying to open up the opponent. Characters who have a reliable 13 frame or a 14 frame while standing launcher can punish Paul pretty fucking hard on some of his key low attacks. For 10 frame punishes, Paul mostly just gets 1-2. It's pretty underwhelming. The frames unhit is good, but the damage is not. It's going to be one of your key poking tools as well. As a side note, Paul does have 1, 2, 3 as a 10 frame punish, but this should really only be used to finish off the opponent, as it is -14 on hit. At the 12 frame mark, Paul has 2 options. He's got back 1-2 and down 1+2. Back 1-2 is one of the best 12 frame punishers in the game. It deals good damage, grants massive plus frames, and it wall splats. 99% of the time you're gonna find yourself using back 1-2. However, for niche situations, you can use down 1+2. Paul is gifted with a 14 frame launcher, which very few characters in the game have. This is a high, short range knee that gives him a full combo on hit. The most important thing to master about back 3 is its range. Learn which -14 attacks you can launch and which ones you can't. For the sake of completeness, at 14 frames, Paul can also do his rage drive. The timing to do this is frame perfect. But Paul's rage drive does good damage, wall splats from a mile away, giving you plenty of time to run in and still combo the opponent, and it's plus on block, which is especially useful at the wall as it leaves him at +9. For 15 frames, Paul mainly has 2 options. He's got down forward 2 and up forward 4, his hop kick. The 2 can more or less be interchangeably used except for some very niche situations. And I guess I'll throw in a third one as well. Paul has a 15 frame long range punisher, quarter circle forward 2, his death fist. Use this for attacks that have heavy pushback, but be warned that inputting quarter circle forward 2 at 15 frames, just like his rage drive, requires frame perfect inputs. And for attacks that have heavy pushback, Paul has 2 16 frame punishers for that, forward 4-2-1 and forward 4-3-4 shredder kicks. This will be something that has to be practiced, as it can't be just simply mashed out at 16 frames. The timing has to be precise. To launch attacks that have heavy pushback, use 4-4-3-4. But if you want more range, forward 4-2-1 is going to be your go-to. Now on to while standing punishers. At 11 frames, Paul just gets while standing 4. Nothing to see here, moving on. At the 13 frame mark, Paul gets while standing 3-2. This is one of the best non-launching while standing 13 frame punishers in the game. It deals great damage, knocks down on regular hit, wall splats, and it crumple stuns if the second hit is a counter hit. What more could you possibly want from this? For a niche punish on -14 or more low, Paul has full crouch down forward 2-1. This attack has slightly more range than his while standing 3-2, but only marginally. Most of the time you're going to be using his 13 frame while standing punish on -14 frame lows, because that's just how good his while standing 3-2 is. At 15 frames, Paul's got 2 options. He's got while standing 2 and hop kick from crouch. Generally speaking, you're probably going to want to do hop kick from crouch, as it grants you a better combo route and a better wall situation because the splat's going to be nice and clean. While standing 2 causes the opponent to be back turned, which you're going to lose out on damage here, and the wall splat situation, not so good. And finally, for stagger lows or very minus low attacks in the game, Paul just has a universal delayed hop kick. He's no special snowflake here, so let's get going to the key moves. And now that we're on key moves, I should go ahead and mention that Paul has quite a few attacks in the game that are very linear. However, to cover this weakness, he's got some of the best homing attacks in the game, such as back 1. This is easily one of the best homing attacks in the game because it's a fast high, safe on block, good range attack. It has an extension, back 1-2, but be really cautious on throwing out the second hit as it is duckable if the first hit is blocked. Use back 1 just by itself if you need to quickly check a sidestep. There's no need to necessarily commit to the second hit all the time. Next is quarter circle back 4. This is a high, plus on block, long range attack. On normal hit, it just knocks down. At the wall, it splats the opponent, and on counter hit, yeah, it leads to some absolutely batshit crazy devastating damage. Use this attack if you need more range than back one, or if you're fishing for a counter hit, or you need to lock the opponent down at the wall. So now that we figured out more or less how to discourage the opponent from sidestepping, we can start tapping into some more of the power mid attacks that Paul has in the game. First up is quarter circle back 2. This is a safe on block, strong hitting mid that wall splats. Note that quarter circle back 2 has a clean hit property, meaning that it nets you more damage the closer you are to the opponent. Well, up until a certain point. But anyways, this attack can kind of be freely used whenever. It's particularly good at the wall as a safe option to discourage opponents from ducking. Next up is up back 2. Okay, admittedly, I should have lumped this attack with the homing attacks, but I'm putting it here with the power mids. This is a mid homing attack that is safe on block. It's got decent range and it knocks down, and at the wall, it wall splats. And on counter hit, you get a beefy combo, right? This is so good. This attack, in fact, is so good that you can use it anywhere in neutral. One special note, against characters with higher jabs, sometimes this attack does evade under highs. Alrighty now, let's move on to some key low pokes for Paul. Comparatively speaking, Paul has some safe-ish low pokes for what they do. Quarter circle forward 3 is one of the best low pokes in the game. It's extremely good when it comes to range, it high crushes, tracks quite well, is neutral on hit, and on counter hit grants you a full fucking combo. Yeah, this thing's pretty fucking good. Use it at range. Use it up close. Use it if you think your opponent's gonna go for a high. Just fucking use it. But having said that, the main drawback is that it is -14 on block. But only a few characters in the game are gonna fully launch you for this on block. Now, next is sidestep 3, pump and pedal. It's another great low poke for Paul. This attack is an unseeable low poke that is +4 frames on hit, and a whopping +12 on counter hit, allowing you to get a guaranteed back 1-2. Damn, this thing's ridiculous. And what's more ridiculous about it is at the wall, this is disgusting as it leads to a guaranteed wall splat. So use sidestep 3 when you need to start offense, or when you have the opponent at the wall. Just make sure to mix up when you're inputting the 3 so you're not being predictable with your timing. You can do an immediate 3 out of the sidestep, or you can delay the shit out of it. And what Paul guide would not be complete without the Yeet Special Starter Kit. I'm talking about Death Fist and Demo Man, baby. Quarter circle forward 2 Death Fist is the stuff of nightmares, as it is a mid-hitting attack that does absurd damage. Use this attack to heavily punish opponents who duck needlessly, or if you're big brain and high IQ, you can use it as a whiff punisher. Do be aware that this attack is punishable on block by the majority of the cast, but only good players are going to be block punishing you on this. Demo Man is the low complementary Yeet to Death Fist. Demo Man is high risk, high reward, but the first hit needs to be either a counter hit or a clean hit in order for all 3 hits to land as a combo. Even a single backdash can neutralize this attack. The best place to use it is at the wall, where the opponent can no longer backdash in order to prevent you from getting a clean hit. Now we get to Paul's mid pokes. One of the main ones is down forward 1. Unlike most characters in the game, Paul's down forward 1 comes out in 14 frames instead of the standard 13. However, this down forward 1 is a complete mind game because down forward 1 by itself is -2 on block and +4 on hit, but Paul has extensions out of his down forward 1. Down forward 1-1-2 can be used to catch opponents who are mashing buttons. The last hit of the string grants you a knockdown into a guaranteed Death Fist. Ouch. Then there's down forward 1 back. This puts Paul into a backsway, allowing him access to all of his quarter circle back attacks we talked about previously. Make sure to vary the options after down forward 1 so as to be unpredictable. Sometimes just doing one down forward 1 by itself, other times doing down forward 1 into backsway, and still other times doing the extension. And for another excellent mid poke, Paul has down 1. This attack has very good range, hits from nearly 2 backdashes away, and is completely safe on block. On hit, it just gives you a couple of frames, so nothing special here, but on counter hit, it gives you +3 frames and forces the opponent into crouch, effectively limiting their attack options afterwards. Use this attack as a mid-range poke. As a special note though, down 1 allows Paul to also go into crouch if you hold down. This gives him access to all his while standing and full crouch moves. This is especially useful on hit. Next up, we got safe launchers. Quarter circle forward 1 is a high elbow attack that launches on regular hit. Its reach is actually pretty okay, considering that it's coming out of his quarter circle forward motion. Provided that you have conditioned your opponent not to just randomly duck for no reason, throwing this out every now and then is a viable strategy. Quarter circle forward 1 can be used as a launching whiff punisher as well. And now, you got down forward 2. Oh boy, this thing to Paul is like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it to play defensively and control space, or you can use it to play aggressively for reads. You want to play YOLO? Fuck it, run up to the opponent and do a down forward 2. Sidestep, down forward 2. Backdash, down forward 2. Anything you think of is probably okay for this move. There's almost no wrong time to be really using this. Even whiffing it is okay, just as long as you're not being super predictable about when you're using down forward 2 and getting whiff punished. Down forward 2 is just a safe move to throw out. For good plus on block attacks, Paul has forward 1+2, Hammer of the Gods. This attack gives you +3 frames on block, forces crouch on block, and forces crouch on hit, grants a knockdown on counter hit, and at the wall, if this does connect as a counter hit, well, you get a wall splat. Nice. Use this attack to start pressure, or to start bullying the opponent until they do something, or to dissuade them from ducking. Be aware that this attack is linear and bad on whiff. But having said that, this is still a very good pressure tool at the wall. Up forward 3-4, Shredder Kicks. Alright, so originally I didn't have this move added into Paul's key moves, but after talking to Joey Fury, he had convinced me otherwise to add this in. So Shredder Kicks is a double hitting hop kick, but it's like a super powered hop kick if you want to think about it that way. It has more range than a normal hop kick, and it's got more frames of low crushing. So if you suspect that your opponent might be going for a low, throw this attack out. If you see your opponent dashing in, throw it out every once in a while. In Joey's words, sometimes this just works. And in terms of panic moves, Paul's got quite a few, but I went ahead and selected 2. Forward 1+4 and forward 2+3. Forward 1+4 is the world famous evasive shoulder. Paul does a big ass sidestep to his left and performs a mid shoulder attack. Since season 4, he no longer gets any guaranteed follow-ups after the shoulder, but that still doesn't make this attack worthless. In fact, it's still very good. The evasion is still there. Use this attack if you need to slip away from pressure, or if you need to dodge certain attacks and strings. Forward 2+3 Chainbreaker is the new attack that Paul got in season 4. Surprise, it's another shoulder. And use this as a mid power crush. While this attack, unlike forward 1+4, isn't evasive, it does let Paul plow right through whatever attack is coming at him. If this connects, you're guaranteed a quarter circle forward 2 Death Fist as a follow-up. Use this attack if you want more damage as an option instead of the forward 1+4. And at the wall, it's wall splats. But be warned, neither of these attacks are safe on block. In fact, both are -14. Some characters can actually launch punish you for using this if they block it. Use them sparingly. Alright, now we'll get to the throws, and I'm gonna be real, Paul has a lot of good throws, all with different utility, but for the sake of time I had to just pick 3, one for each break. First, we have the one break. Congo Blast. On its own, this throw is pretty underwhelming. It deals just 35 points of damage, 40 points if you nail the just frame, which is still kind of underwhelming. But at the wall, it's fantastic as this wall splats and leads to some really good fucking damage. Next, we have his 1+2 break, Twist and Shout. Looking at the damage alone, this isn't anything spectacular, but the fact that it does floor break and provides good Oki is interesting. If the opponent chooses to wake up with any attack buttons whatsoever, you get a free counter hit launcher with down back 2. If they stay down, you still get a free down back 2. The only way for the opponent to actually even avoid this is if they hold back, in which case down back 2 will whiff. If you find that your opponent is doing this, you can do a standing 3, any movement whatsoever will clip them, or you can do sidestep 3. Finally, we have Chest Crusher. This is kind of like your run-of-the-mill 2-break throw in terms of damage, but it has interesting properties such as being able to reposition the opponent, so you can potentially push the opponent towards the wall. Paul will grab his opponent and then push them 90 degrees to his right. While this will give you a wall splat in certain circumstances, you can't get a combo from it because the opponent's in a low slump situation. And last but not least, you know we gotta talk about Paul's Rage Art. He's got one of the most unique Rage Arts in the game because it can be canceled to add significantly more damage to his combos. And this is why Paul is so dangerous in Rage. Whether it's from a straight down forward 2, a hop kick, or whatever you can possibly imagine, Paul can confirm it into a Rage Art cancel and abracadabra. Like a magician, he can make that health bar disappear. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this guide. Those of you who are looking to pick up Paul, maybe even finding a way to counter Paul, or just trying to, figure out how to play this character, have found this moderately useful. I remember looking through a bunch of the guides on YouTube and I just didn't find a very particularly good Paul guide that I liked, so I went ahead and made this one. And big shout outs once again to Joey Fury. Thank you so much, Joey, if you're watching this, for helping me make this guide. And those of you who are watching this, please go ahead and subscribe to Joey on YouTube, follow him on Twitch and Twitter and all that good stuff. I'll have the links in the description below. With that, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Peter, and this has been another guide. Thanks for watching, guys, and joining me on this video. Also, thank you so much, patrons, for your ever so gracious support. Without you, this would have not have been possible. And if you're new here and you like what you see, consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification icon. Below in the descriptions, as always, I also have my links to my Discord, Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon page. See ya next time.